Thank you, Vern. Hey, folks. Thanks for being here with us. Okay, May, I want to start with you. I saw that your company is all about business writing. I'm a business writer. So, help? Gonna replace me?
Well, that's where we got our start. We are the only generative AI company that is productized on top of every step function change in the capabilities of the transformer. We were founded 4 years ago, and that's what models were good at then. Now, LLMs and natural language really are the gateway to intelligence, and now we say if you can write it, if you can describe it, you can build it. And so we have pioneered the enterprise generative AI category by combining LLMs with retrieval and guardrails and orchestration. And it's that full end-to-end solution that enterprises need, and that's what we've built over the last few years.
So I'm safe, is what you're telling me.
I don't know.
I'm right here, May. All right. Sujay, I want to come to you next. You've invested in this company. Yeah. Remind us what WndrCo's thesis is and how Writer fits in.
Yeah, of course. All right, so first off, we were incredibly lucky to invest in May. She's crushed it. Since we invested, she raised at like 4x the valuation a year later. I mean, it's kind of wild what she's done. I'll talk about that in a second. What WndrCo does is we create a company every year, about one company a year. We make about 5 to 7 venture investments a year, and we make 15 seed investments every year. The focus of the firm from the beginning, this is kind of like an unknown thing we were talking about earlier, is from the beginning, 2/3 of the money that we had went into software. At that point in time, 1/3 went into digital media. In 2020, we said, you know what, let's just move entirely to software. And so since 2020, we've been 100% software, but we've been doing software since the get-go.
Yeah, for sure. Jeffrey, you have your pick of what you want to invest in. Why AI stuff right now? What are the opportunities and risks in going in that direction for you?
Well, I mean, I think that, again, as Sujay says, our focus has really been productivity tools. How do you take AI and create applications that make people more effective, more efficient, more productive, more creative at work? There's certainly the big guys that are out there who are, I think, doing pretty world-changing things in terms of, what's the future look like and sort of the larger future of AI. But what we've tried to do is just sort of be boots on the ground on a very practical basis. And you have companies like Writer today who can instantly deliver productivity and real ROI to companies of things that are essential to their day-to-day business, and hers around storytelling, which is in particular why I think we were excited and why we related so much to Writer and to her mission from the outset.
Yeah. May, I want to press you a litbe bit on this maybe I'm replaced or not thing. We've been talking a great deal over this event as to the role of humanity and creativity vis-a-vis the tools. So how do you look at that, especially given what you do? Where do we fit in, us humans?
We're tools also. Humans are tools. And I know that sounds nuts, but we are moving to a world of autonomous action for AI where we're going to be nudged when we're needed. Across the street, we've got our customer conference going on where Uber, Salesforce, Victoria's Secret are walking folks through what is truly possible with agentic AI using our tooling. But the guardrails are so important, and folks are so obsessed with LLMs, and that's one piece. The part that folks really miss is, and this is part of our storytelling, this is now very meta, but this is really what's happening in the enterprise. To make AI work, you absolutely have to get your business process, your business logic, your data in order, right? And marry that with the LLMs whose reasoning capabilities really are increasing. We build our own LLMs. We are pushing the envelope on the architecture of the transformer to enable the kinds of complex orchestration of work that truly is possible. But it is, no question, so confusing for the enterprise right now. And it's just mass delusion that you can get to transformational generative AI working just with the hyperscalers.
Yeah. Jeffrey, I want to come back to you. Same question essentially around where the humans fit in. I think about DreamWorks. You started it in '94, and would you start it the same way now, given the preponderance of all these tools?
No, but I've lived through these transformations before. I was born in the Jurassic era, and we used to make animated movies by hand-drawn cell animation, and went through that transformation into the resource and assets of technology as the assets to artists, to animators, and then obviously into what was the most transformative part, which came in the sort of mid-90s, which was CGI animation, which obviously has become, I don't know, 4 out of the top 10 movies this year. So I've seen this story before. It gets retold time and again, and each time there are these new sets of tools. It's a new paintbrush. It's a new, does anybody know what a typewriter is?
I've heard of it.
And so I actually think these are phenomenal tools. I think they are going to be extraordinarily empowering. I said, I don't know, now it's a year ago where, when I, left the business now 9 years ago, it took 500 artists, 5 years, and $200 million to make a movie. And, that is already on this extraordinary curve down. It doesn't mean it's less creative, and it doesn't mean that it doesn't require a great storyteller and a great vision. It does. It's just we're giving a new set of tools to them to actually realize and make these dreams come true.
Right, right.
One thing to think about, just to contextualize it, because I think this feels scary because of how most of the people that we all interact with have the application of creativity as part of their job. But if you look back at, if you just go back to the time of the American Revolution, the industry that 75% of American workers worked in was agriculture. And you look today, and it's like 2 to 3%.
Right.
And it's not because we're producing or consuming less food per capita. In fact, probably the opposite, right? It's because tools allowed us to kind of supercharge things, and humans could go away from work that they would, kind of the parts of the work that were drudgery, and move to things where we could get to higher and higher orders. And I think likely it's going to be the same thing with AI tools.
Sujay, do you think that, you're looking at the whole landscape and trying to make your bets, right? Do you think that we're going to lose entire industries or entire companies because of these dramatic changes? We've articulated it at the individual level now in this conversation. Yeah. How do you look at it at a bigger scale?
Look, the big debate is whether AGI is going to happen in the near term or whether it's going to take a long time. And there are people smarter than me that would tell you that AGI is around the corner. I think where we're betting as WndrCo is we think we're going to see scaling limits to the development of the current generation of models and algorithms, and we think AGI is a long way away. And if we're right, then I think what you're going to see is industries are just going to get better because they have data, they can make things better, drudgery can go down, but all of us are going to be fine. If we're wrong and AGI is around the corner, all bets are off.
Got it. I'm going to come to the audience for a question in just a minute, but I have one more for you, Jeffrey. You spent a great deal of the last year being the co-chair of the Biden campaign. I would love to know what you learned about how Silicon Valley and technologists are thinking about AI in that context. What did you learn campaigning for President Biden?
Not that much. Next.
Fair enough. To the audience then.
They won, we lost. It's their bat, their ball, and I'm rooting for them to play great. Seriously, this is the way I've been doing this for 50 years, and I've been on the winning team and I've been on the losing team. It's nicer to be on the winning team, but it is their turn at bat. Mm-hmm. And honestly, for the future of this country and for the things that I think mean so much to many of us, I am rooting for their success in every single respect. I hope the changes that they bring make us a better, stronger, more successful country.
Yeah, right on. All right, a question from the audience. Yes, right over here. Hi, Stephen.
Stephen Wolf-Beneda from WndrCo. May, huge congrats. Love everything that you've been doing with Writer. Your issue about data governance is so important, and so many of these companies are just not AI ready because of the data issue. Where do you see some of the challenges? Is it more on the CTO technical side where they're kind of not made here and they're kind of being protective? Or is it on the business side where maybe it's the CMO, but they really don't understand everything that you're talking about?
Yeah, so maybe two challenges, both on the business side and on the tech side. So, on the business side, it is a real interesting challenge. If you think about the Industrial Revolution, all those technologies existed, but we didn't get that big change in productivity until we got the assembly line. And so much of what is required is this assembly, this guard railing of the work. Give you an example. Large Fortune 10 asset manager. How do you do investor reporting, right? You've got 5 mil in a credit fund and you've got 10 mil in a private equity fund. Literally, how do we do reporting? Nobody knows, right? Someone outsources it to a SI for the tune of 200 mil a year, but there's no process. And to get generative AI against that process, the data, right, needs to follow the business logic. And so the human effort to actually go in and diagram out all of this stuff, that's data too, right? The examples of how we've done it before, how we don't like to do it, how we want to do it, that's data. And how you make that into continuous pipelines, that's a technology problem right now. And so, folks paint a very wide brush of data is challenging for generative AI, but let's get specific, and it's all very use case driven.
Yeah, that's well said. Thank you, May. Well, let's go for one more, please. Yes, way over here. Hey there. Good to see you.
Hi, Laura Yoler from Playground. I know you've been talking about enterprise productivity, and I think we agree that is wonderful with the appropriate guardrails. But a number of artists and writers who are writing nonfiction and more creative works have had successful pieces and then have been approached by AI companies to write the sequels and use AI to generate those based on the characters in the initial work. And they have been told by other friends who are creatives that that would be terrible, it would dilute their brand, and using AI for that would make it look like they didn't have that creativity going forward. What do you advise folks who are being given offers to develop AI code-generated content?
I'm actually not, I'm not sure, so I don't want to, but what I will say is that I have many friends of mine are among the leading writers, creators, and showrunners in Hollywood today. And I would say almost across the board, they have all talked about how the AI tools today have been helpful to them. They have seen them as a resource and as an asset. They have made them more productive. They've been able to widen the diversity of their work, the quality of their work. So again, I'm only telling you what I hear from I would say among the most talented showrunner creators today, how they find these tools an amazing resource for them, and it's not constraining them, it's inspiring them.
Can I build on that, Jeffrey?
Go for it.
We've got.
I'm sorry to interrupt you,
sure,
but
sure.
we're about to wrap it. Yes.
Okay.
The answer from Jeffrey is no.
Forgive me, May. Please, a round of applause. Thank you for joining us, folks.